This is the second part of the Simple Store app, where we were making that Simple Store app using JavaScript and Bootstrap. So what all would we now have in the app? So now we have add a product, wherein instead of just having the product name and price, we have these radio buttons, we have the drop down for the supplier, and we have the field for delivery available. And we also introduce ability to sort on clicking on these headers. So this is what we are implementing. So we will implement the drop downs, the radio buttons, the checkboxes, and also the sort functionality. So like in the previous case, the step one will be creating the drop down, the radio, and the checkboxes. And the way we will do it is follow the same three-step process. Make them using HTML, make a function to show them, and replace the HTML with the JavaScript function. So let's start doing that. So here we have the HTML, and what does this HTML do? It will show us these radios, the drop down for the supplier, and the checkbox for delivery available. Notice in the case of the radio, we have this label discount and then these three radio options. So that have been implemented using this HTML. So this is the label. So notice here in this label, we do not have the input. Then we have the three radio buttons, and these are all in inline so that they appear in a single line. Then we have the drop down, and then we have the checkbox. So now that we have this HTML, we will just convert it into a function. So let us start converting into a function in a step-by-step manner. So here we have this array discount options, which is to be used to create the radio. So we have the display and the value we want. So this is exactly what we're getting here. 2, 5, and 0 are the values, and the displays are 2%, 5%, and none. So we want to create this radio. So let us make this function make radios. Now what does it need? It needs this array of options. What else do we want here? We want this label. So let's take the label. And what else does it need? It needs the name. So the name is discount. So let's use the name. And let me copy the radio code. So first let me make those radio buttons. Then we will add the label. So this is the HTML for making that radio button. So now that will work on every element of this array. So let us just do arr.map, and let's call it, say, option. Now what does that option go to? So we have in that option, this is the JSON we will get. So let's use object destructuring display comma value is equal to my option. Once I get that, let me construct the string. So I will say let str equal to, and let me get this first line in. Then str plus equal to, I need this input class. Now in this input class, I'm getting the name. So let me just replace it with name. And we are getting the value. So value would be this value here. So let me replace that also. Then str plus equal to, I need to get this line in. Then we have the display. So let me call the display plus, then we have the slash label. So let me just put that here. And then str plus equal to the slash div. So we have put all of it in. And now what do I need to do? I will just return the str. Once I've returned it, let me put this into a variable const arr1 is equal to this. Now we need to handle the label. So let's just look at the label code. Let me copy that. And let's just put it in. Let s1 equal to s1 plus equal to label plus the label value. What is the label value? The label value is given as label plus the slash label that I get from here, and I need to close the div. So exactly the same approach that we have been using so far. Once I've gotten the s1 plus equal to arr1 dot join with an empty string, and I can return my s1. So my radius should have been made. Now what should we do? We should now make the next is the drop down. So I should make a function to make drop downs. Function make drop down. Now what all do I need in the drop down? I need the ID, and I need the array, and I need the header. So ID, options, and header. Now again, let's start with the options. So options dot map, let's call it opt, that goes to. Now what is the nature of this array? It has just got three values which are strings. So we need to create the option. So let me just create the option here. This is what we want. So I can just return option plus opt plus slash option. Let's map it to an array. Const arr1 is equal to this. Now we need to put the header and the ID. Let's start with the top code. I need this part. Let s1 equal to, let's put the div s1 plus equal to ID. Let's replace it with the parameter. So we have this part of it. Now what else do we want? We want the header and then the closures. So let's put in s1 plus equal to option value equal to disabled selected, and what is the value we want to show there? Header slash option. s1 plus equal to, then we show the rest of the options, which is arr1 dot join with an empty string, and then we need to show the s1 plus equal to slash select and s1 plus equal to slash diff, and I will return my s1. So we have the drop down also. So this was the drop down, it ended at here. Then we need to create the checkbox. So let me create a function. Function make checkbox. Now what all do we need in the checkbox? We need the ID and we need the label. So ID comma label. Let's copy the HTML. Let str equal to str plus equal to input type is equal to checkbox. Let me change the ID to the parameter str plus equal to label. Let me put the value of the label as parameter, and str plus equal to close the div, return str. So we have now gotten these three functions. Let me just make a function show. Let html equal to make radius. I need the array. The array is discount options. I need the label. The label was discount. And I need the name. What was the name of the radius? It was discount. HTML plus equal to, then we need to make the drop downs. Make drop down. Now what are the values I need there? ID, options, and header. What's the ID? ID is supplier. Suppliers is my array. And then I need the header. Header is select supplier. Next I need to put my checkbox. So HTML plus equal to make checkbox. Now checkbox has ID and label. What is the ID? Delivery. And what is the label? Delivery available. And where do I need to show it? This is my div ID is show. So document dot get element by ID show dot inner HTML is equal to HTML. Let me just do a console dot log HTML before that, and I will call the show function here. Let's delete this HTML. So now my HTML just has my div for the show, and I've deleted one extra, so I need to close the div. Let's test it. And this seems to be working fine. That's surprising in the first attempt. Let's change some values. Let me make this 12%. Let me make it TABC just for testing purposes. So this became 12. This is TABC. So it's getting generated from this data. Let me reverse it. So now what we have done, we have been able to add these three options here. So the radios, the drop downs, and the check boxes. Now, what is the second step? The second step is integrate in the app. So combine the drop down, radio, and checkbox in the app in the form that we had, and then test it thoroughly. That is what we need to do. So this is the my app that we had, wherein we had these two fields getting entered. And now what we want these fields to also come in here. That is our objective. So let me copy the make radios, make drop down, and make checkbox and put it in my app. Next, what I need to do, I need these discount options and this suppliers. Let me put that also. Once I've put in, what else do I need? I need in my H form, I need to add these pieces. So let me copy these 3 lines, and where I'm showing my show form, let's just go to show form. Here, let me add these lines. So this will become str plus equals, str plus equals, str plus equals. Let me now test it. If I go to my app, unexpected token equal to at line 92. So this was the error. If I click on add a product, nice, this is working fine. So this is a nice way to integrate, make it separately, because otherwise at times the code becomes unwieldy, you start committing errors, and you are able to do it. Now what we need to do, on the submit button, these values should be entered. So let's go to our submit. Where is our submit? So this is our submit. Let us take the values. Let deliver discount. Discount is from a radio. We'll need to figure that out. Let's figure out the supplier is equal to document dot get element by id, supplier dot value. Then which one do we want? We wanted delivery. So again, same thing we can do. Delivery is, and we can say checked. Next, we want the radio. So we will just get all my radios. Let radios is equal to document dot get elements by name. And what was the name for it? Discount. Let discount equal to an empty string. For let I is equal to 0, I less than radius dot length I plus plus. If radius I dot checked, discount is equal to radius I dot value. Now we have gotten those values. Let's put it in our product object. So discount is discount, supplier is supplier, and delivery is delivery. So we have gotten this in. Now what we also need to do is update our table so that it shows all these values, which is what we need to do, and we will update our JSON for that data also. So now in our products, each JSON has these 5 fields: product, price, discount, supplier, and delivery. So the table, let's update our table. Show products table. Now this has 5 fields. So it would, let's make that change. So what all do we show? We show discount, supplier, and delivery. And let's make them. So total number of columns are 4, 7, 9, 11. This should be fine. And here again, let's change the headers. So we need discount, supplier and delivery. And let's ensure that the number of columns match for that. Let's test our code now. If I click on show products, I get an error. Discount is not defined at 87. So what was the problem? In our object destructuring, we forgot to do them. Discount, supplier, delivery. So now those variables should be available to us. Let's test it again. So now I have gotten my table is working fine, my show products. Let's go to add a product. Let's add it. PR001, price 22, discount 5%, supplier James. There is an error here, as I can see. Delivery line 54. That was the error. Show products is fine. Add a product. PR001, 22, 5%. Submit. So we get PR001, 22, 5, James and Company, false. Let's add another product. PR002, 33, discount none, supplier Bob, delivery yes. So these values are perfectly running fine. So we have implemented the second part of it. Now what's the third part of this? Sort the data when the header in the table is clicked. So now what do we need to do? When we click on the header, say product, price, discount, supplier or delivery, it should get sorted on that. So two things we'll need to do. We'll need to define the on click and then the handler for it. So let us first add the on click. Let's go to the table and here let us add on click is equal to, let's say, sort, and let me give it the column number, sort 0. Same thing I can do for the rest. And let me just give a different column number. So now I need to define this function sort. So let me just define this function sort somewhere. So function sort, and what does it get? It gets the column number. Now what we would use, because we have multiple cases, I will use switch on column number. Now if it is 0, case 0 means if the value of column is 0, what should I need to do? I need to sort by the product. So I can say sort products dot sort product 1 comma product 2 goes to p1 dot product dot locale compare p2 dot product. Now that should be give me my sort, and I need to put a break because that's what we require in a case, otherwise the next case would get fired. Similarly, now if my case is 1, now what is 1? Case 1 is price. So again I need the same thing, products dot sort p1 comma p2 goes to. Now note that price is a string, it's being stored as a string, whereas we now want to sort them as numbers. So I can just convert them into numbers with this plus minus p2 dot price. If I do it, this should work for me and I will get a break. Now what is the third? The third field, if you look at it, is discount. Now discount is again similarly a number stored as a string. So I will do the same thing. Let me just copy it. Case 2, p1 dot discount, p2 dot discount. Now what is 3 is supplier. So Supplier is a string which we will sort as a string. So let me just copy case 0. So case 3 is p1 dot supplier locale compare p2 dot supplier. Now what is case 4? Now case 4 has these values true or false. So how will we do that? So let me say products dot sort p1 comma p2. Now what do we want to do? If p1 is true, so I will just say p1 colon 1 else minus 1. Now, and let me just explain this. So if p1 is false, I will return minus 1 irrespective of what p2 is. P2 only has the values true or false. And if p1 is true, I want true to come on top. So I have given it the value 1. So I have just supplied my sort order in this fashion. Let's test it. Malfunctioned 61. Let's look at 61. There should have been a bracket here and a bracket here. Similarly, the same mistake is here. Let me correct that. Let's test it again. So there is something that has gone berserk here. Let's see. On click is we did not close the quotes here. Let me test it again. So show products is showing fine. If I click on product, I don't get a sort. Let's check it. Let's go to sort, and why it's not happening? I did not call a show. So what should I do now? I should call show products. Let's do it. If I click on product, now it is sorted by name. If I click on price, this is also working fine. If I click on discount, that's fine. Supplier is fine. Delivery is not working. Let's test out delivery. So it shouldn't be P1, it should be P1 dot delivery. Let's test it. Product, yes. Price, discount, supplier, delivery. So delivery is also working fine. So this is the second part that we have created, where we added these drop downs, radios, and checkboxes, integrated them, and also implemented sort functionality on the header.